Hi vinyl community, John here. So this is a little sort of second intro to this video. I made this video that you're going to watch now a few days ago, and there's been a lot of change in events with the UK referendum, or the European referendum, and so a lot of what I said beforehand is kind of obsolete now, so I'm going to cut that out and put this in as an intro. And I also made a point of saying Happy Midsummer, which in Sweden was celebrated yesterday, so we didn't do that because we don't celebrate Midsummer here in Wales, but I'm going to celebrate it tomorrow in Cardiff with Swedes in Wales Society. But okay, so that's my little intro. It will probably sort of make more sense when you watch the rest of the time. Okay, thanks, John here. This is going to be a little roundup video showing some of my other finds that I've made for this first part of the year. Tomorrow will be the day that in Sweden they celebrate Midsummer, so effectively it is halfway through the year. I'm playing this. This is Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Over-Nite Sensation, the album's called. I've had this a while, and I've just learned something recently by watching Dark Dub's video where he showed, I think he showed Apostrophe, and I think he also showed this, but he said that they were made at the same time. If I remember rightly, I think he said that they were made in the same sessions. I'd never made that connection, but it's fun to listen to anyway. Okay. Before I go any further, I just wanted to revisit this as well. I'd said before when I showed this as one of my finds that I found in Stockholm, that I was very disappointed with it. It's actually one that I got for free from the guy in this record shop in Stockholm. It was 100 krona marked up as, but he said I could have it for free because I'd spent enough money there. And to be honest with you, I didn't like it because I played the first track, which was called Come Down Jesus, and it's very sort of, I don't know, badly produced, reverb on the vocals, and it's just not a very pleasant song. But then I actually played a bit further and listened to the rest of it, and it's actually pretty good. So yeah, I take back my disdain for it. I think it's not as bad as I thought it was originally. What is unusual is look at that. It's really flimsy record, almost paper thin. And interestingly, they say on the inner sleeve, it's called Dynaflex. It says here, I'll read you what it says. It says, Dynaflex, it is thinner than any other record you have ever owned. It is also superior in many ways to any other that you have ever owned. It is freer of imperfections, ticks, pops and blisters. It is much less susceptible to warpage, and its life will be far longer than conventional records. It is the record of tomorrow, yours today. So it's kind of weird. It's floppy. So these are some records that I've found just since the beginning of the year that I haven't showed. This is Supremes. Here, Symphony. It's on Tamla Motown. That's a pretty good find. Yeah, regular Tamla label. You've all seen that before. It's an original pressing. Paid £1 for that, car boot sale. It was in a terrible state, really nasty and disgusting, but I cleaned it up, and it's now looking very pretty. Mike Oldfield, Oldfield-Hergest Ridge, if that's how you pronounce it. This is actually on the Virgin label. I must admit, I've yet to kind of work out what's so great about Mike Oldfield. I put this on and it was, I don't know, not very interesting, I must say. People rave on about Mike Oldfield, particularly Tubular Bells, but I haven't really got there yet. And I mean, I like long-winded music. It just seems so sort of dull. This was his second album, I believe, but I wouldn't recommend it really. Okay, I haven't decided if I'm going to keep this one or not. Probably not. It's the Righteous Brothers, so it's like a double compilation. Got 2x2 on MGM. I still can't decide. I've played it a couple of times, but I don't know, it's just not me. It's an old record, you know, but and it belongs to its time, I guess, but it's just, I don't know, I can't find really any enjoyment in it, so I probably won't be keeping that. There's another Kingston Trio record that I found. That's great. I really like that, what they do. Very folky. This was a little bit of an unusual one. B.M.X Bandits. So as far as I can work out, it's kind of it's got quite a nice label. See this? Look at that. So this is sort of like a indie, what they call indie record. A very early indie record. So it sounds really quite rubbish. Sorry, I haven't got a lot good to say about these records, have I? But it's not my kind of thing. I'll probably hang on to it purely because of its, you know, rarity, unusual kind of record type status. But I doubt if I'll ever play it. I've never really heard of it before, but looking up, it's an indie sort of very early indie band single called Sad or E102. Okay, there's another Ella Fitzgerald record. This is really nice. Really getting into that. Yeah, this comes out at least once every Sunday. Jackson 5 Greatest Hits, Gatefold. Bought this for £1 as well. Kavutsa. Yeah, it's on Tamlin Motown. Lovely condition. My children enjoy listening to this. I found this in YMCA shop. It's a Who compilation. I always wondered about this album. It's got a lot of few pages and things, stuff inside. Cut a long story short, I had a friend once. He was a bit older than me, and in the days of Walkmans, he used to listen to his Walkman, and I asked him once what he was listening to, and he pulled out the cassette of this, and I recognised because of the exploding pinball machine. I've never seen a copy of this album. I looked it up on the internet and yeah, it's there, but I've never seen it in the wild. And this came up in the wild and I grabbed it. I mean, I've got all of the tracks and all the music, but I thought it was quite interesting to get the compilation now. It's on Polydor. Okay, and we've got John Anderson's album. I think this is his second album. Great condition. Really, really lovely condition that is. I think John Anderson's music, you know, you have to be in the right mood for it. And I got Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. This is the first Rainbow album. I really like Rainbow Rising by Ritchie Blackmore. That's got to be one of my favourite hard rock records. And I kind of had expectations for this one too. I think this came out before Rainbow Rising. But surprisingly, the guitar is so far back in the mix on this album. You know, I mean, the whole point of Rainbow is it's basically like an opportunity for Ritchie Blackmore to showcase his guitar style and playing. But it's not really very forward. It's quite far back in the mix, which I think is a shame. I'd probably enjoy this more if it was produced differently. And then I got this. Oh, I found this ages ago. Early on in the year, I found this. This is an album by a band called The Photos, and yeah, I paid £1 for this as well. The Photos they used to be a punk rock band in the UK in '77 called they were called Satan's Rats. That's what it was. And the female singer, this girl here, she's called Wendy Wu, and apparently she was a lot in the press at the time. But anyway, eventually they changed and became more like a new wave band called The Photos. I'd never heard of them before. This is a complete blind buy, but I'm glad I bought it. I think this came out in 1980. They're quite an early sort of new wave record, if you like. And lastly, I'm going to show, this is a record I picked up. You know, it was one of those occasions when I was out cruising the charity shops and there wasn't anything to find, so I grabbed this because it was the only thing that was mildly interesting, and it was a complete blind buy. I guess I should cover up somebody's address, I don't know, but it's a package that someone has sent and received records. A long time ago. I can't see any dates on the postmark, but the price of the stamps are really cheap. 2.5p, for instance, and 20p. I don't know when you date those stamps. And this looks pretty old too. I'm guessing this was sent to somebody sometime in the 60s, perhaps. Oh no, hang on, there's a date on the stamp, 73. So, yeah, all right, yeah, early 70s, 1973. And what it is it's a double record set. And it's a self-help record. Really lovely condition, a bit dusty, but, you know, it's pristine otherwise. And it's called Hope and Help for Your Nerves. People don't really say that so much these days, do they? But it's by someone called Dr. Claire Weeks. I think she was an Australian, because she's got like an Australian accent, and it says actually she was a consultant physician to the Rachel Foster Hospital in Sydney. It's kind of unusual. I was thinking about doing a needle drop of this, but you can find the material on YouTube if you look. It's kind of, you know, interesting sort of hearing a self-help book from that time, because the way she speaks, the language she uses is quite different from the way people would do it now. Okay, so that's my roundup of other stuff that I've got this year. So we're going to the polling station today here in the UK to vote whether we should stay in the European Union or leave the European Union. Big issue right now. And tomorrow, if I was in Sweden, I would be celebrating Midsummer, but I'm not. I'm here in Wales, and the weekend I shall go and hang out with a small group of Swedes that live here, and we'll celebrate Midsummer in the park in Cardiff, which is interesting because if I was in Sweden, I'd probably get together with a bunch of expat Brits and celebrate the Queen's birthday or something like that at a different day. Okay, well, I'll wish you all a happy Midsummer, glad Midsommer, and look out for my next video. Thanks, bye.